Hi everyone, Mr. Fig here. I just wanted to make a quick video to help you get started with this week's assignment, which is a lab using a simulation about lenses. So as I mentioned in the video, this week you have a written assignment, which means you'll need to either print out the assignment or copy your work onto separate paper, and then you'll have to take pictures of your work and upload them through the website. We did this before with ray diagrams for mirrors. So but I just want to go through the process. So you should be able to see on the computer screen our classroom website. So let's go into social distance physics. And we're in week 20, the week of the 25th. So open that up. The WAG link, here is the link where linking to the YouTube video about convex and concave lenses. Here is this video about getting started with the lab. And here you have two download links. This will download either a PDF copy or a Word copy of the this week's lab. The Word copy should be able to be opened up in Google Docs without much of a problem, so you can use either copy. So I'm going to opt to download the PDF copy, so I'm going to click on the link. Notice it's not opening it up. I have it set to just automatically download, so I need to go to my download folder to open up the file. Here it is, physics simulation and practice. That's this week's lab. Let me just open that up. So for the lab this week, there are 6 pages to this packet. So again, if you have the ability to print at home, you can just print up the pages and write your work right on these pages. But I understand not everyone might have a printer at home, so if you want to handwrite this on the notebook paper, that's fine. Copy the questions in each section and just let me know what you're doing. So there's some pre-lab questions. What is a lens? Why does light bend when it passes through a lens? Give some example of that lenses that you use in your everyday life. So these should be relatively straightforward, especially after you've watched the video. There's also a link to the chapter, the text in the chapter where they discuss lenses on the website as well, if you want to look that over. Then there's a link you can either click on the link in the PDF or you can copy the link to go to your browser. But before I open up the simulation, I just want to go through a little bit more of the lab. I've pasted sections of what the simulation looks like when you're working on each section of the lab. So there's a table here about images from convex lenses. Here's a table here about images from a concave lens. And here is the table for images from a concave mirror. Okay. Then there's some questions to answer. And then a series of 5 ray diagrams for you to do. Okay. So this is a fair amount of work. There's only one video to watch next week, including this one should take you about 30-40 minutes to watch both videos. So you should probably budget a couple of hours to get the simulation work done. All right, so you have the simulation. Once you have the simulation paper, either you can print it or you're viewing it on your computer screen. Let's open up the simulation. It's at the website, the Physics Classroom. And when you first get there, the simulation is actually very small. What I suggest you do is click on the double arrow to bring it out to full screen. So now you can see the simulation. And there are a bunch of controls. Right now it defaults to a convex lens. You can change it to a mirror or you can change it to lens. Now you'll see here that you can turn on 3 different rays. The first ray is parallel to the principal axis. Second ray is through the focal point. Third ray is through the center. So much of this behavior will be familiar to you if you've already watched the video on convex and concave lenses. You can also use this app to help you with the ray diagrams if you want to check your work before submitting your work, because you can just basically figure things out here. So this allows you to set the size of your focal lengths, set the height of your object. Also allows you to drag the object to different locations. So on the activity, sometimes you'll have the object on this side of the focal length. Sometimes you'll have the object on the other side of the focal length. Notice this indicator that the image is now off screen. So if that's the case, what you can do is you'll need to be able to change the scale. Probably the best bet is to change the focal length, perhaps. Let's see. Focal length, there we go. You can reduce the focal length until the image comes into view. So you can play around with the sim. You can, again, it defaults to convex. If I go to diverging lens, it'll give me a concave lens, and I can move my object images around as need be. Then you can also go to mirror and do the questions for the mirror. Now, after your work is done and you've completed your lab work and you've written out your answers, you're going to need to take a picture of your work, probably with your smartphone. Okay, for me, I've already taken some pictures of the work and transferred them into my download folder. So let me just open up one of these images. So when you take a picture of each page of your work, and again, it's okay if this is on notebook paper. If you can't print out the actual packet, that's fine. Make sure your name's at the top of each page, so when I'm looking at the different pages, I know whose work I'm looking at. There's write out the answers to your questions, and then do your ray diagram. A word about the ray diagrams: I make these on the computer, and they don't always necessarily translate to the regular paper, ideally. So your ray diagrams will look a little bit differently depending on how precisely you're drawing your rays. So when you do your ray diagrams, make sure they extend the rays all the way to the edge of the paper, because sometimes they might not cross until slightly beyond the edge of the image. Like here, this first ray diagram, my real image was just beyond the 2F point. So yours might vary depending on the ray diagram. But notice I also started with one ray right through the center of the lens, because that ray never bends, and then I did parallel and bent through the focal length for the convex lens. Label the type of lens, convex. This is an upside down image I can project, so this is a real image. So get all that stuff labeled. But once you have these images, so if you print out the packet, you'll be making 6 images that you have to upload to the website. How do you upload your submission? Well, let's go back to the website and I'll show you. So below the 2 links to download the copy of the lab activity, you have the link to submit. So let's open up the link to submit. You'll see this page with the add submission button. Click on the add submission button, and it should give you a place to drag and drop your files. Now, you can also click on this first icon here if you want to upload the files one after another, but it's probably just easier to open up your download directory and then just drag each individual file to the window. Give it a little time to upload. So when all is said and done, you should have several pages of images here, and you can just save your changes. If at any point you need to correct things, you can go back in and you can edit your submission. You can click on a file and you can delete it, and if you want to then drag another file up, you can. Okay, got it? So try to get this work done earlier. Monday is Memorial Day. Try to get to watch the videos by end of day Tuesday. Hopefully you'll watch the information that you need to know and get started on the activity. If you have any questions, I'll be doing the chat on Wednesday and Friday of next week. Or of course, you can email me anytime. Okay, everybody. And I probably have clipped my video off of this screen a little bit. I just noticed, but hopefully it'll still work. See you. Bye.